Kia Venga Review. Although Kia has a history in the regular B segment with 3 generations of the Rio hatchback, the Kia Venga is its first B-segment MPV, slotting below the Carens. Parent company Hyundai has its own version of the Venga, the X20, which uses the same engines and chassis and, even to Hyundai and Kia bosses, looks just a little too similar. The biggest difference between the two cars is the warranty, 7 years and 100,000 miles worth for the Kia and 5 years but with no mileage limit for the Hyundai. While Kia is hardly being shy and retiring in the naming of its latest small car, Venga is Spanish for come on. The company is holding back from calling the Venga an MPV. Which is strange, because to our eyes the Venga's extended headroom and adjustable rear seats mark it out as exactly that. Kia says it is instead a B-segment, think Ford Fiesta size, hatchback but with stretched proportions for increased interior space, and as such is targeted at downsizing families. In the UK the Venga range consists of just 4 engines, each with 4 cylinders. There are 2 diesels, an 89 bhp 1.4-liter unit and a 114 bhp 1.6-liter oil burner that wears Kia's Ecodynamics badge, and 2 petrol models, one a 1.6 producing 123 bhp and is the only engine available with a 4-speed auto gearbox, and the other a 1.4 with 89 bhp. In spite of the appeal of the diesel's 62.8 miles per gallon and, for once, not an exorbitantly inflated price over the price of a petrol car, the bulk of Venga sales are likely to be the 1.4-liter petrol car. However, Kia list prices no longer have the advantage they used to over European rivals, which means the Venga must compete on its on-road merits. The Kia Venga is based on the Kia Soul crossover, with the wheelbase stretched by 65 mm. It is this modification that defines the Venga's main selling point. Its length is some 20 cm shorter than a Kia Ceed, yet it has almost the same wheelbase, meaning generous interior space for the overall footprint. The Venga is the first production Kia to be designed from scratch by Kia's new design director, Peter Schreier, ex-Audi, and closely follows the No. 3 concept, the only significant difference being the replacement of the concept's combined panoramic windscreen and roof. However, a conventional panoramic roof is available on the top-spec Venga 3. In 2015 saw Kia give the Venga a minor facelift, with the changes to the exterior limited to a bigger front grille and sharper-looking bumpers, while inside a tire pressure monitoring system and Bluetooth connectivity are now all standard. As a result of the elongated wheelbase, the front and rear overhangs are relatively short. This, along with the broad track, gives the Venga a relatively squat stance, helping to hide the height. At 1.6 meters it is taller than a conventional hatchback. The A-pillars are not particularly thick, but the front 3/4 windows, unusually large for such a small car, help boost visibility at junctions. Large, swept-back headlamps give the Venga a mini Ford S-Max look, but there is no option of xenon technology, although front fog lights are included on trim level 3. Meanwhile, the cheese grater grille is becoming a Kia styling trait. Although the Venga's is not identical, in outline or shape of the grille, to that of the Soul or the recently facelifted Ceed, the design follows the same theme. At the back, the cutout and rear bumper looks a little contrived, even if it does help break up the bulk of the rear hatch. A small thing, but the shut line for the rear door is echoed by the angle of the tailgate and to join line of the rear bumper, which is a neat bit of styling. Whether the styling appeals is, of course, subjective, but to our eyes at least it is entirely inoffensive but disappointingly bland. Although we have low expectations of what a 1.4-liter 89 bhp family runabout can achieve, the Kia Venga proved disappointingly slow during our tests. It is not so much the 0 to 60 miles per hour time of 13.1 seconds, but the performance beyond this point that looks a little sluggish. Under full acceleration it needed 13.5 seconds to go from 60 to 80 miles per hour, or just the sort of sprint you might need to join a fast-moving motorway. A 1.4 Fiesta takes 10.2 seconds and the Citroën C3 hatch is faster still. What we can report with more assurance is that at lower speeds and lower revs the engine feels noticeably stronger. At town and A-road speeds, up to 50 miles per hour, the Venga is adequately brisk. Both petrol engines feature continuously variable valve timing, which means 4/5 of the 1.4's maximum 101 pounds-foot of torque is available from 1,500 revolutions per minute. It is also an impressively quiet engine at idle and low revs, making the Venga refreshingly refined. Beyond 3,000 revolutions per minute the engine is more strained, but again this may improve when properly run in. The 1.6 promises slightly better performance, but actually feels worse on the road than both 1.4's, although if you opt for it, not helped by the old-school 4-speed auto. The EcoDynamics diesel shows more grunt but is limited again by its coarseness. No question, the base 1.4 petrol is the pick of this range. The manual gear change is light without being vague, and the weighting as the lever passes from one gear to the next is consistent and reassuringly positive. While it is unlikely that you'll be changing gear for the sheer hell of it, there is little in the process to discourage you from doing so. All Venga models get the same brake setup, consisting of ventilated discs at the front and solid discs at the rear. While outright stopping power is not an issue, in road use, we would like more consistency and reassurance to the pedal feel, the initial response occasionally feeling too mushy.